the fleeing of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, and his dramatic fall from grace marks. A remarkable reversal of fortunes for a political family that has dominated Sri Lankan politics for almost 2 decades. Gotabaya's departure to the Maldives signifies a significant downturn for the Rajapaksa dynasty, which has held sway over Sri Lanka's political landscape for nearly 20 years. The family's grip on power began in 2004 when Mahinda Rajapaksha, Gotabaya's elder brother, was appointed prime minister. Rohan Samarajiva, founding chair of the think tank lrnews.ch, observed, Mahinda proved to be a leader with a populist touch, adept at identifying broad political issues. He cultivated an image as a man of the people, surrounding himself with individuals who shared his philosophy. Mahinda's ascent to the presidency in 2005 marked a turning point for Sri Lanka. Under his leadership, the military successfully ended the country's protracted civil war in 2009. This conflict, spanning nearly 3 decades, pitted the Sinhalese-dominated government against the liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam, an insurgent group seeking a separate state for the Tamil minority, who comprise about 15% of Sri Lanka's 22 million population. By steering the military to a decisive victory over the Tamil rebels, and appealing to the nationalist sentiments of the Buddhist Sinhalese majority, Mahinda consolidated his power. During this period, Gotabaya served as a key official and military strategist in the Sri Lankan Defense Ministry. The Rajapaksa brothers were hailed as war heroes by the Sinhalese majority at that time, noted Amatanayagam Nixon, a senior journalist from Colombo. However, the family's political fortunes took a dramatic turn when President Gotabaya Rajapaksa was forced to step down after protesters stormed his official residence. The unrest escalated as demonstrators also breached the prime minister's home, setting it ablaze amidst growing discontent with the government. The Rajapaksa dynasty's comeback was facilitated by the Easter Sunday terrorist attacks in April 2019. In the wake of these bombings, which claimed over 250 lives, Gotabaya announced his presidential candidacy, promising to restore security and revive the muscular nationalism that had endeared his family to the Sinhalese Buddhist majority. He also pledged to lead the country out of its economic slump. Gotabaya's victory in the November 2019 election brought the family back to the center of power. Their first triumph was over the Tamil rebels. The second time, they campaigned on the premise that only they could protect the country from ISIS, a Muslim terror group, explained Nixon. Upon assuming the presidency, Gotabaya appointed Mahinda as prime minister and assigned key positions to other family members. Basil became finance minister, Chamal took charge of irrigation, and Namal was appointed minister of sports and youth affairs. These appointments ensured the dynasty's control over both the state apparatus and major economic sectors. Samarajiva noted that the public largely overlooked this nepotism. Neil Devota, a professor of politics and international affairs at Wake Forest University in the U.S., highlighted that the Rajapaksa Sinhala majoritarian rhetoric and actions were crucial to their success. Their self-portrayal as the staunchest defenders of the nation, rooted in Sinhalese Buddhist nationalism, was the key to their popularity. It allowed the predominant Buddhist population to overlook their venality, said Devota. Author of Blowback, Linguistic Nationalism, Institutional Decay, and Ethnic Conflict in Sri Lanka. However, the family's dominance and popularity led to a series of ill-advised and populist decisions. In 2019, the Rajapaksas implemented sweeping tax cuts that severely impacted government finances. The following year, they banned all chemical fertilizers, a move that devastated domestic food production. Although the ban was reversed after 6 months, the damage had already resulted in food shortages. Almost every decision Gotabaya made was flawed, and the people are now bearing the consequences. Samarajiva, who worked for the Ministry of Economic Reforms, remarked, Gotabaya often sought advice from the wrong individuals. For instance, he would consult a medical doctor on agricultural matters. Samarajiva emphasized that the tax cut decision was particularly disastrous. The then Sri Lankan central bank governor repeatedly warned me that from 2018 onwards, Sri Lanka's financial situation would be precarious. Debt was accumulating, and numerous loans were coming due, he explained. The introduction of massive tax cuts, which slashed government revenue by 25%, is widely seen as the catalyst for the economic collapse. The onset of the COVID-19 pandemic further exacerbated the situation, severely impacting key economic sectors, especially the vital tourism industry. Sabaragamuwa revealed that he and other experts met with the president in May 2020, urging the government to seek assistance from the International Monetary Fund, IMF. However, the administration procrastinated, only approaching the IMF in March of this year. Gotabaya's attempts to rectify his mistakes were consistently inadequate and belated, Sabaragamuwa pointed out. While the enormous debt burden cannot be entirely attributed to Gotabaya, as successive governments contributed to it, borrowing increased significantly under the Rajapaksa's watch. Sabaragamuwa highlighted the use of high-interest commercial loans to finance projects that ultimately proved financially unviable. Devota shared a similar perspective. Sri Lanka has suffered from political and economic mismanagement for decades, but the Rajapaksas elevated this to unprecedented levels through corruption and blatant disregard for the rule of law. Their insatiable appetite for plunder transformed a poorly governed country into a ruined one. The combination of poor policy decisions, abuse of power, corruption, and nepotism has culminated in the most severe economic and political crisis Sri Lanka has faced since gaining independence in 1948. The resulting hardships have fueled public anger and resentment towards the Rajapaksas, sparking a massive popular uprising that has now forced Gotabaya to flee Sri Lanka. Reports suggest that other family members are also attempting to leave the country. It is the misuse of power and corruption by the family that has brought the country to its knees, Nixon concluded. If you found this video informative, please subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis of global political developments.